Hello everyone, this is Wei, and today we're going to talk about OpenLive3D again, right? So we are in the process of rewriting the entire OpenLive3D. Let me briefly recap what that happened, right? So originally, 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, we planned a structure like this. At the end, we developed a structure like this. And this structure is actually quite complicated, and also there are some limitations for the current structure, and we want to have better support, and we want to uh, be able to target some of the features that we want to develop it. And these are the features that we listed at the end, right? So we want to achieve this, and this is a timeline. And today is actually September 13, the day 2 of core separation, right? So this hit is what we have been working on since yesterday, and this is the progress, right? So this is the core separation progress. We basically define the controller interface. We have a GitHub submodule set up. It's actually Git submodule. Let me change it a bit. We had a Git submodule set up, and also we copy and paste some of the code. Uh, there are still some part of the code that is not copied yet. The holistic and face mesh is another beast inside the worker that we will try to take care of. I'm not sure if that it will be today or at the time that we set to have the thread control, because we actually set a time for thread control to have either single thread or multi-thread running. Currently, for both the website and also the Electron app, multi-thread is the only option, which can be a bottleneck for the mobile. Uh, this is what we would like to tackle. Also, when we try to enable the multi-thread and single-thread options. So let's pause it a bit for the holistic and face mesh part and continue on the work in progress, which is the detailed code check and adjust the code. So yesterday we continue to progress the code, and there are some very nasty process inside it. We will going to jump into the function very quick, and this is what we basically will be doing today. And after the separation is complete, we will have a final test and final check. In this final test and check, we're going to uh, evaluate the original plan for not the original, the plan that we set up yesterday for the controller interface. We should be able to see that we actually use the defined controller interface that we think it will should work in our test, right? So that is the goal for today. Cool. So other than having this uh, PowerPoint, I think what I will do is that I will still have this note open, and let me open the note, and yeah, that is Git submodule. Nice. Okay, so let me open this note, and also let me open up the code. Yes, the code. Great, great, great. Right, so this is what we uh basically what we stopped yesterday, right? So yesterday we went through this, and we see this function, all information. And then I complained about it for 10 minutes. Right? Because yeah, and I also explained why this is like written like this and what I try to have. But at the end, this shouldn't look like this, and we should change it, right? So this is what we aim to do today also. So let's start jump into it, right? So this is where we are going to display our information, right? We keep the old info. We should probably change the name also because all info is is storing a completely different information, like the temp info that we're trying to store, right? So for the old information, we're here having this print log, which is very important, right? So where is this print log, you might ask? This print log is actually calling, let me remove this. This print log is probably inside the GUI. So let's search for print log. Yes, right. So this is actually a function inside the GUI that we are trying to display all the different logs into our interface, right? So we're printing all the logs while getting all the information separately, right? So here we're seeing that we're updating the hand information, the face information, the pose information, the hand information for left and right. They are all separated. And the FPS information is also updated here. So what I will argue is that for this loop, when we get a result from the holistic model, when we get the result from this holistic model, what we will want to do is we should just be updating information instead of instead of printing the log, right? So we should collect the information, and for print log, we should have that set somewhere else, right? So we should check for this all information. Where is it defined? All right, so all information is actually defined within this function, which is extra problematic because when we have this all information defined within this function, basically means this is part of the function. And part of function is trying to code the GUI to directly update the information to the log. This could make sense when we're just doing logging, right? So we know that in logging, we don't tend to collect the information afterward, right? We do logging while we're computing the task. But we're trying to communicate with the front end as well. And this software doesn't actually have a proper logging system anyway, right? So here, what we will need to do today, the first task is try to decouple this logging function. Another idea that we could also try is that we can check, because we actually load GUI first, right? So if we just take this entire function inside the manager, and it should still work. It actually should still work. But is that a good practice? I would say that is not a good practice. Okay. First of all, the first thing that we should do is to change the all info name to all log, because this is actually not information. The information is the key information that we are using for updating the 3D model, right? So let's change it to all log and print the all log here, right? So now that's test. Okay, so now another problem exists. The problem is that we actually have the FPS queue here, right? So we have the FPS queue, which basically means these two queues are calculated inside. Let's see, where are, I think for the visualization FPS queue, we should update it inside the FPS loop, inside the inside the health check. Okay, so the one that we update it in the loop should be the counter then. Let's see. Okay, so in visualization loop, we update the counter. This is fine. So for ML loop, this is where we need to check. We update it in on worker result. Okay. 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 First of all, this makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. Yeah, this makes sense because we actually separate the machine learning result into two parts. One is that we have the get machine learning, right? So that is of course, and another thing is that we actually collect machine learning from our worker, which is another thread. That's why we are also seeing this event, also seeing this async, because this function is actually sent to the worker. And this is problematic. Yeah, this is problematic because when we have a counter here, okay, based on our design, first of all, based on our design, this worker result should be inside the manager, right? I think we can all agree with that the worker result should be inside the manager. But this ML loop counter is part of the health check, right? Part of the health check. And the health check is actually, yeah, the health check is actually outside of the core, right? Should the health check be outside of the core? I think it should. Okay, so and there are two different health as well. There are the machine learning health, there are the visualization health. The health check, if I remember, runs every second. Let's see. Yes, health rate. I think the health rate is run every second. Health rate is 1. Let's see. It might not though. Let's see the default value. Health rate is 1. Yes. So health check is checked every second. And this makes sense, right? So we check the health every second. But if we update all our parameters whenever we run health check, I think it will be too slow, right? You're updating the information every second, updating the parameters every second. Would it be too slow? If we print the log every second, that would be too slow, right? Right. I think that would be too slow. And do we want to this is very tricky. I'm thinking of separating the healthcare parameters. I'm thinking of separating the healthcare parameters with other parameters. Yeah, I'm thinking of separating the parameters with other parameters. Yeah, but currently, based on our GUI code, that would not work. Yeah. We are facing we're facing the problem right at the start of the string, which is reasonable. I mean, this had always been like this. Like it's just problematic. So what we will have to do will probably be brute force it first. Right. So we forget about a queue because the queue is an accumulator, and let's just focus on better coding structure first. Right. So if we focus on better coding structure, we know that these 6 lines will have to be commented out. Right. This 6 lines just doesn't work. But we need these 6 lines to be added somewhere else, and we worry about that afterward. Right. So yes. Okay, so based on this idea, we have to collect information here anyway because we're collecting the machine learning informations into log. But at the end, we shouldn't print log directly. We should save it into another logging system, which we currently don't have. Hello, Ghostweb. Hello, hello. Yeah, you're the only person that tuned in, and this is the third day that you're still tuning into the stream. Cool. Thank you, thank you. And yes, so based on our discussion, what does it mean? We need to create a entirely new function called logging, and the core we have to print the log there, right? So we print the log not directly to the GUI, but print the log to our logging, and print the log to the logging manager. And after the log is printed to the log manager, we retrieve the log whenever we try to update the information and actually print that to a GUI again, right? So that is a correct logic that we should go for, right? So in terms of architecture, that should be better. But we currently don't actually have a logging manager, which we have to create that in order to continue, right? So that's just started as a new logging manager now, and that's coded log.js. Cool. So now we have a logging manager file, and what we will need is to have a function receive log, right? So we will have, what is the name of the GUI? It's called keys as well. Okay, then just call it keys. Okay, and let's have current keys. Yeah, very bad naming, but anyway, as long as it work, right? Another in terms of code quality, another idea that I actually thought I would like to do is like, first of all, TypeScript, and also another thing is like we should have linked, but yeah, that is against my development process, so let's forget about it. Cool, let's continue. So receive logs, what we would like to do is that for every key inside this function, we will update it logs. For every key inside this function, we will update it. We'll update the key equals to keys. Why there's, oh yeah, this is two layer. It's two layer. Okay, so that's key and key and key. Right? Keys, key. Right. Alright, the netmake is just suck so much. But yo, hey, uh, for all the keys of this key, for each function we get a key from the keys, and then we update the current keys with this key to save the key of the keys. Yeah. So that's just so bad, but uh, anyway, yep. So we now have log manager, and we have the receive logs and also retrieve logs, and that just updated our function. I think that's here to receive log. Huh. Yeah, anyway, should work. Receive log, O log, right? So where do we want to print our log then? Should we call it retrieve log? Or we directly have the print log function? Yeah, let's still have that in the controller because I don't want to mess up the connection. I think this will make sense if we have the visualization printing inside the controller as well. So visualization counter +1. And here we are updating the information. Great. So update info, it will update the 3D model. So draw sim, it will draw the 3D model actually inside the sim. That's great. And what we will also like to do here, let's add it to the visualization loop, which should make sense. We will have the retrieve log, which will provide us the log, but we will need to print the log. So let's have print log. So print the retrieved log. That makes sense, right? Okay, so first of all, let's see if this actually work, because I'm not sure if this work. We can have a testing. Let's start the testing. Okay, let me open up the video for the testing as well. Okay, the model is not moving, which basically means it is probably broken. Let me check the error. Yep, we are getting some error messages. Let me check. Uncut control manager receive log is not defined. Yep. And the reason why that is not defined is because I haven't defined it. Yep. So yeah, let's define the log inside index. So the log should be right before or after, both would be fine. Meta log. Great. So I defined it, and let's test again. And let's check the log. Okay, we are getting update. Great. Look good. Face. I think we don't have hand because we're having single detector. Frame rate 0. Good, good, good. This is not bad. This is not bad. So first step finished. First step good. And let's check the. Let's continue on the second step. Remember that we just removed the sixth line here, right? And we need it somewhere else. Actually, I think we can copy the 7th line here, and we can remove this part. Wonderful. And then copy it somewhere else. I also delete these code. So where are we able to update the queue? Because when we updated the queue, we should be also updating the visualization, right? So yeah, and also some of these functions, these should be in general. We should write a general function, general file somewhere to some of the basic function. Great. So health check, health check, health check. This is where we updated our queue. It's actually quite large. We should definitely separate the queue up. This is very large. Yeah, we should probably separate the function. Okay, great. And now we have olog 3D FPS queue update. Great, wonderful, and we can have this function as receive log. Receive log, olog. Now, let's test. Let's test. Okay, okay. Parameter, general. Okay, nice, nice. So we are having frame rate update. As you can see, 3D update 60 frames per second, and face update quite fast, quite fast. Those are all reasonable numbers, and yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So we are fixing it. We are fixing it. These are all great sign. Great sign. So now we have done the first step of the separation, which means we can now, given that we have the log manager already, we should be able to separate our machine learning on holistic result. Wonderful. Okay, so this will probably break. Yeah. First time. Yeah. Okay. Which means it should be here. And dynamic ML duration. Okay. Okay, so first of all, we should be able to, it seems, remove this, save, pass it here. I'm not sure if this will work, but anyway, we need this. Okay, let's check. Obtain inference result. Not obtain parse inference result. Okay. Okay. Push information. This will be the interpolator. Get temp. Receive log. Okay. and print log POI health check. Oh no, set interval check health. This one is here. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Okay, this is tricky. Okay. Okay, we need to separate this out. Okay, this cannot be like this. I didn't saw this will be like this. Okay, so the first time value will need to be here. Because in the first time when we actually run the machine learning, we are trying to do a lot of different things. And we are trying to correct the metadata. We are trying to hide the logging screen. We actually have a loading screen, right? We're trying to hide the loading screen when we first time trigger the machine learning. And this just cannot be a part of the core. This have to be a part of the interface itself. So we have to set it somewhere here, right? Whenever we actually got the data, when we actually got result in our data instead of an error message, we start to get a loop. That makes sense. And when this is the first time, we will do all these things. That also makes sense. And I think at the end of the function, we set it to false. That also makes sense as well. And we can have the false function somewhere here, right? And we also print some log, which is fine. That would be great. Okay, so this is the first break. This is the first break that we're trying to break out the code. However, we actually still want to have the on-worker result inside our manager as well. But let's not talk about that. Let's not worry about that too much. And let's check if this handling actually work by doing the separation, right? So we save all the files. Let's reload the testing and see if that will work. And we got an error inside 403. Result is not defined. Great. So 403 results. Okay. Yep. Which means this is basically this, right? Let's see. Health check. Okay, let's see. Reload. Initialize loading, model loading, integration start. Okay, so let's see, the model seems to be working, and let's check the parameters. Frame rate updating, phase also updating, number very fast. Is it too fast though? Fuck it. Yeah, this should be fine. Okay, right. So this is good. This is good. We are actually having this updated, and now with the logger update that we just added with the manager that we have, we pretty much have the machine learning parsing, just the parsing part, inside our core. However, we also like to have our machine learning code running inside the core as well, right? So this is something that we want to have. So the machine learning code running, there are several parts. One is the trigger part, which is the on-worker result, and we can also check the holistic phase match and the worker. Right. So inside this on result, we're trying to parse some sound of the value and push sound of the value out. And I believe this onWalker result is defined to hook with the load ML model, which is very interesting. I don't think this one is defined here. I think the load ML model is defined inside the ML model, right? The model controller. Interesting. That is defined in the landmark, which we already passed to the core. So let's see. Sorry, it's not interpolator. It's actually the ML landmark manager. I think so. Yes, low ML models is here, and the low ML model is the part where we are actually trying to load the two different workers, the holistic workers and also the face match workers. So now this, and we actually hook the result here, right? On result, we're printing the result out. So how do we actually make it inside our code without breaking everything? How do we set another initialization function? Why do we have two? Okay, how do we set another initialization function that inside our core function, so that when the website started, when the website is running initialization, it can actually call the core to exit to start the initialization, while also hooking this onWalker result. And the onWalker result, which is problematic itself because it is trying to change the UI. It shouldn't try to change the UI. No. When we get the first time, when the machine learning is running for the first time, you try to change the UI to disable the loading screen. It makes perfect sense, but the code is tied together in the machine learning itself, which shouldn't happen. So when will we know that we're updating? We're updating 3D for the first time. When will we know? When the ML loop counter is larger than 0. Okay, so when the ML loop counter is larger than 0, it means that we're actually loading the machine learning model for the first time. And we can actually set, okay, this makes perfect sense right now. Let's set us into the health check. I shouldn't make it the health check. It will make it worse. Okay, it should be in the visualization loop, right? It should be in the visualization loop. Let's check VI loop. Is it a way that we can insert this in the VI loop? This is logging health check part. Okay. Health check is fine. We should separate it in another function. Okay. In visualization loop, we're trying to add visualization counter. That is fine. We're trying to update the information, draw the 3D scene, update the log as well. We do that, and that is perfect. And when we actually load the VRM file inside it, and we can actually get images from the camera, these are all valid check. And we're running the loop here to loop visualization. These are all great. So let's see. Okay, not here. And let's see if we are having the first time right here. And we want to check if our ML counter is larger than 0. Oh shit, the code is so shitty. Oh, ML2 counter larger than 0. If that is the first time. And we updated this. Oh, damn. Oh, the code is so bad, but is there any way that... Okay, okay. So first of all, this makes sense, right? This entire function makes sense. Okay. We probably don't need to wait for the current VRM and also the camera image. So we can separate this out. So the code structure is still like 120% ugly, but it's not 125% ugly, right? So let's make it a little bit prettier, and the logic should work. Okay, the logic should work, which make this unworker result more reasonable and understandable and acceptable. And dynamic MO duration is checked here. I think we actually have this dynamic ML duration set somewhere else. Yes, this is actually something that will be that will be fucking modified in the health check. We try to modify the ML duration in health check. Oh no! We try to modify this inside health check. How can we solve this? How can we solve this? Okay. It basically means we have to start it in the configuration, right? It means that this dynamic ML duration cannot be a variable. Let's just start wherever, which I'm currently storing wherever. But this have to be stored together in the configuration. Yes. And not only does it have to store together in the configuration, it have to be set and check across multiple different functions, right? So, okay, so let's do that modification later. First of all, we save the file and then we test if this function can still work, if everything's still working. And we got an error that is saying that reference E is not defined in visualization loop. What is that? So in visualization loop, we're trying to E data. Oh no. Okay, okay. Let's forget about this. For debug purposes, okay, when it is our first time loading the machine learning function, we are trying to print the machine learning result, which is understandable, which is what we should do because this is extra important in debug. But we need to have a way to fix this. We need to have a way to okay, I still think we need to print that information. Okay, first of all, this line is causing the problem. So it means that when we are actually inside our loop, inside our, not worker, but manager, inside our manager, when we first receive information in our unholistic result, and we first time get code. Okay, so let's get it done here. Holistic. I think we started as true, right? True, yes. Okay. So first holistic is true. And when we actually receive the first holistic, we set it to false, right? So this is just repeated it several times, but I think this is something that needs to be done. And for this file, we know that this line is causing the problem, and that's pasted here. First time result, print the result. We need this anyway. And for our controller, is there anything else that we should be able to do? Should we run health check even when we don't have the ML model running? Doesn't make sense that health check start before everything is loaded. We should, right? We should have the health check right at the start of the initialization. And yeah, I think that makes sense. So where do we set the other intervals? So we don't set the other intervals? Okay, so all other are not set intervals, right? All other functions are request animated animation frame looping. So where should we start this? Where should we start a health check? We need to put it somewhere that only run one time. One single time. Which means it will probably be visual loop. Yeah. Is there anywhere I can run this? I don't see it. Should we run the initialization? I know that I think we only run it once. Initialization. Init config create layout. Yes, we only run it once. Otherwise, the layout will be problematic. I think I have tested this out. Start camera, low model, low VRM. Okay. Okay. For better not sure if it's going to be better, but in terms of the idea, I think it should be better to have it here. But will it run? Will it work? Let's find out. Okay, model running, everything loading, internet going. Parameters, general frame rate updating. It means that the health check function is correctly running. There is no other error. Phase still got all the information that we need. Row is updating pitch. Okay, good. Wonderful. Okay, so we basically have the first layer separation done, right? And now we should be able to. These are all update. Yeah, these are all update. Okay, we should sometimes try to also separate those update. Okay, now we can start to tackle this, right? So we learn that this dynamic ML duration is problematic because we have a mean duration. We probably have an max ML duration somewhere in the config as well. And this configuration is changed so many times across so many different places. Before we have everything inside this controller manager. Now we're trying to separate it. So this have to be caught somewhere else. So let's have this default config, and let's see the mean. ML duration and max ML duration. We do have those here. I think, okay, so these are system parameters that cannot be modified, right? Modifiable parameters. Do we define system parameters somewhere? Yes, we do define system parameters here. So it means that we will need to, wonderful, we have to add one parameter at the end of all our system parameters. No, not all of our system, but nah, let's just add it in. Add it in. Okay, so it's called dynamic dyna ml duration, right? For like simplicity. So dyna ml duration default as, it shouldn't matter, but put it at 3. Okay. So dynamic ml duration, we do created the new parameters, and whenever we try to use the dynamic ml dura, we are using that so many times. We're using it everywhere. Do we use this okay, we do use, is that the only places that we're using it? Huh. In that case, yeah, okay. So since these are the way that we're using, we should still start it. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, so we will, let's see. So for this one, we have to change it as dynamic ml duration, and for this one, we have to change it as set config manager value. Is that what it called? Yes. We have to change the dynamic ml duration to get to the minimum ml duration. And here we are having a lot of computation. Okay. It means that okay. Okay, this is a bad idea. That that I write it here. I should write it right after the last time that we change it. Is it the last time that we change it? Okay, this is indeed the last time that we change it. No, this is the dynamic visualization duration. The ML duration, is it the last time that we change it? Yes. Great. Okay, so this is the last time that we change it. So we have it here. We should have it here. And we should have the value here. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Okay, so we are checking this dynamic ML duration as a local variable, and we're setting that after everything had been modified here. And by doing that, we can also try to check this dynamic visualization duration. And fantastic, this one is here and this one is set here as well. Okay, so if this one is set here, it basically means that there's another function. Yep, called dynamic and we have to set it for the get worker result to use the dynamic. Wonderful. And for the visualization, we know that this is modified here. And so, okay, dynamic visualization duration equals to the config dynamic visualization duration, and also we have the set function also at the end of the visualization duration as well. So this will be perfect, which means in the configuration manager we also have to add the visualization part, which is normally, it seems, before our ML visualization. The time is set to the same 3 milliseconds, and we have to add this as a new line. Perfect. Okay, so we now have this in the configuration. We now have this local variable set and updated here, and we have to go through other parts when we're trying to use this, and we change the dynamic visualization duration in the loop and remove this line. Now things should work. Everything saved. Reload the test page. Does it work? The model is updating, which means that it is basically... Oh no! Settings safe! Oh no! Okay, another problem exists. Another problem happened. This is a huge problem. Okay, if we're updating a system parameters, let's see, doc URL, time, FPS rate, FPS weight, sim flip cam, flip. What is this? I think we have a changeable for camera flip. Yeah, we have a camera. This is just a reference, right? Okay, so this is just a reference. Okay, great. Canvas ratio, debug. Yeah, these are okay. So it's not entirely impossible to debug yet. We have to remove that system save. Settings saved. Okay, so we have to check whenever. What the heck? Okay, so when there is a set CMV, we need to check save setting. Okay, and when key is not in, oh, I'm writing too much SQL. when the key is not in system get system parameters, this will return a list, right? Will this work? Will this hack work? Oh no, and this will return false, so I cannot save it here. We need to make it return true, but we don't want to save it, which means it can only exist here though, right? If key in get parameters get system parameters, we don't save it, else we save it. Can we use in, or should we use includes? Huh. Okay, so we should probably use includes, right? Let's try to use includes. I think it make more sense. Includes key. If system parameters includes key, and we can actually have it here, we will save. Let's refresh it. Let's refresh it. And now it seems to work. It seemed to work. Great. That is great. And that is great. Let's see. If the parameters are correctly updated though. FPS updated, meaning that the loop is successfully running. Phase updated. And we are keep trying to change the FPS as long as we are having this general updated, it should work. Right, wonderful. So it works this way. It works. It worked this way. Fantastic. Did we use it otherwise? Yep. Yep. Nice. Okay. It's cool. So I think this is going where it should go, and I think the key is saving where it should save, which are all fantastic. I think the problem is that when we try to save the cookie, should we save the system parameter as well, or we shouldn't? Because we're having so many system parameters. Okay, we should still save the system parameters so that we can actually check the update. Yep. Okay. But is it too much? Okay, this is not a lot though. Yeah, probably fine. Okay. Let's keep it going. With all these separated, get meta key, correct meta, we should be able to have this function also inside our manager. Could we? Worker update. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Refresh. Okay, no. Save. Refresh. Let's see. Huh. It seems to work. That is fantastic result though. Okay, let's check the parameters. It's updated. The log seems fine, and we are great. We are good to go. And now we only have the visualization loop inside here. And we also want to have the camera control. So we have the media manager here. And we have the camera control. Let's check the media manager. This cameras. This cameras, yeah, we need this function, and this function is directly connected to the, and reasonably directly connected to the browser, right? Navigator, media device. Okay, so this is making it extra difficult, right? Because we have the start camera reasonably well here. We have this set video stream. That is also great, which makes sense. Okay. And we have the link camera to contacts. Oh yes, this is another problematic part. How do we solve this? Right, how do we solve this? So the idea is that we have to, yeah, okay, so the reason why I currently stop and things confuse is because, let's see. So for example, in this visualization, we have a video control, right? And this video control actually capture my face. And this video capture of my face is important because we will also have to connect this camera information to the canvas, to the context canvas, and this connection can actually help us to run the machine learning, right? So we are basically connected this video stream output to this visualization, and of course we're just having the black dark here, but while connecting this, we can also run the machine learning on the frame that we have. And this on the frame running is important. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my head is also hurt just by looking at it, because it's actually uh all tied together. And the reason why it's all tied together, part of it is because initially when I try to write it, it's just not very well thought out, and especially when it's not very well sorted out, uh, it for sure will look ugly at the end when we try to make things work, right? So, what does it mean when we see this? When we see this, it basically means that for the export class, before we are saying that we can just get blend shape, but now after this discovery, we not only have to get blend shape, right? Because just by looking at this visualization output, I'm not going to open up my image, but we know that we also have the landmark output and image output, and also the camera selection here. That is tied to the video control. Right? We actually have two camera. Yeah, one is the virtual camera. So this means that inside our inside our export class, we should also be expecting to get the landmark and also get the video, right? Because we also want to visualize these things in our UI. So inside this core, inside this OpenLive3D core, we have to have all these functions ready. These are not avoidable, right? So yeah, these are actual extra problems that we have to take care of, right? So I think this should be it. This should be it, right? This should be what we want. And of course, we do know that we want to get the ML counter. ML counter. Okay. Now there's another problem. another problem came in to place, which is so we have the ML counter here. Sorry, we have the ML loop counter here, and this ML loop counter, although it seems like this is only updated here, it is also reset in the config. It is also reset when we are doing health check. Okay, so following what we just designed, this counter should be inside the configuration parameter in the system parameters. I think it just makes sense. So let's do it in the configuration manager as well, which means when we are trying to set the cookies, let's see when we're trying to set the cookies. We set the cookies when we run this save VM. So when do we try to save VM? Here, here. Okay, I think we also try to save it somewhere else, but anyway, when we try to set the cookies, we're trying to set the current config manager, which is reasonably perfect. But we cannot do it this way because we're keep adding new system parameters. and when we try to add new system parameters, we basically like store more and more function into it. So we have to define some system parameters that we do want to save and some system parameters that we don't want to save. That we just don't want to save. So how do we do this? What are the system parameters that we want to save and what are the system parameters that we don't want to save? So let's define another function called get saved system parameters and return version. And is version the only day that we want to save? The only value that we want to save? Version validation. So version is probably dev date. Let's keep that day as well. So version and dev date are the only two that we want to save as a system parameters. And other than that, when we try to save the configuration, we will have to define temp cm JSON parse. Let's do a deep copy of our current configuration. Ugly, but hey, there's no other way. Okay, so for this one, check for all the keys. For key of that key of temp. Is it off or is it in? I think we can use in because this is not an array. Sorry. I think we should have this loop running a lot inside all our code, right? Let's see. Yeah. No. Anyway, I think I should be correct. So let's just keep doing it. So if the key get system parameter includes key and get saved system parameters, just too long, get saved system parameters includes key, right? So if this is included in the system parameters but not included in the save system parameters, it basically means that we will want to delete. Okay, this is the Python way of doing it. Let's change. That's completely change the code. So let's do it this way then. So if that is not in system parameters, either not in system parameters or in the save system parameters, temp cm cm key will equals to config manager key, and we save our cookie here. Is there anywhere else that would try to set our cookies? No. Okay, let's see if this works. Right, this should greatly save our cookie space. I'm not sure if the cookie is successfully loaded though. Load cookie config, so it's loaded. Let's try to debug this by having a console log and temp cm, and let's see. Okay, and then let's just change the parameters. Camera flip. Okay, so we're setting, let's see what we save. This is what we save. 3 FPS limit, yes. Body stabilization ratio, this is what we saved. Model, yes. Version, yes. Is there dev date? Dev date, yes. And we don't actually save other parameters. That's wonderful. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Great. Okay, cool. So we successfully make it work. Just like this. And we can still have the lock here, right? I think it's not setting saved. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to actually have the save settings visualized. That's good. That is good. Let me check again for how it look at the end when we try to save features. What the heck is going on? What? What? Okay. I probably know what had happened because in our uh, uh, cookie cleared. I think what had happened is that when the uh, check modifier. Huh? Doesn't make sense. Version motto save setting. These are all changeable. Yeah. Cookie clear, cookie clear, cookie clear. Where is the code? How can I debug this? Damn. I know. I know it's here. But where is the code? Save setting is reset as well, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's save the setting again and let's try to see the console. Yep, here we have settings saved. But this setting, while saved, cannot be reloaded. Yep. Yep, cannot be reloaded. Cookie cleared, and we have to understand why this cookie is cleared. Why this cookie is cleared? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So we try to load a cookie. Cookie is set. Cookie is set. What? Okay, cookies is either way. And then we parse our configuration manager. We check the version. If the version is up to date, we check the model is here. We check the save setting. These are great. We check config modifier. I think these only contain those that can be modified. Yes, this only contain those that can be modified. So we should pass this check as well. Configure missing key. And we should have the key all loaded. Great and fine. So which process did the check fail? Or is it actually success? Cookie cleared. Okay. Cookie cleared. Okay, so let's first add the console log here. Config check counter is trying to add it here, and check false counter. It means that we don't actually have it. Counter too many, but I doubt if that is the case. And do we have a electron undefined? Okay, so these are the entry check. Cookie cleared. Oh, I think I just make a stupid mistake. Here, yes. We just save a string. Where is it? I think I should save a string. So this should be the problem, right? Let's see. Cookie clear, cookie clear, cookie clear. And then in settings, we try to save our string. Cookie saved. Camera flip. And then we try to check again. And this time, cookie is loaded. What? Configuration missing BG upload. What is this? BG upload. I have it. What? Is this something that can be updated? Huh. Alrighty. Seems like BG uploads is actually set parameter. And we should remove BG upload here. Seems. Okay. Cookie loaded. Okay, let's see. This time we should still have that missing, but after we change the camera flip and we reloaded it again, now cookie is loaded without a problem, and we don't have that error anymore. So good. So far so good. So far so good. We have that updated it, and our config is a lot better than what we had, and those are all great news. So these are great news. And with these news, I think we can be able to continue. Okay, let's continue. So we know. Okay, great. I've checked the configuration, and now it should be great to go. And with the configuration good to go, we basically save a lot of the difficulties that we were talking about when we talk about sharing features, sharing parameters. And one of the features that trigger us to start this change is the counters, right? So we have all these counters. For example, inside manager we have ML loop counters. That is not just used here, but also used otherwhere. And also this hand checker. Do we also have the hand checker somewhere else? Oh, fantastic. We don't have it here. That's great. And is there any other functions that we're trying to? Fantastic, wonderful, great. And yeah, it seems like this ML loop counter is the only counters that we're using inside the configuration manager. So that's added here then. ML loop counter 0. And we add the, okay, slightly change the order. And the visualization loop and the ML loop counter can be added right next to one another. And these two have a lot of saying. Where is it? Okay, manager. Here, ML loop counter +1. It basically means we are going to remove this function and we're going to set ML loop counter equals to ML loop counter +1. And what we can do is that we can equals to get. It's at the, since this is a counter. Okay, wait. Since this is a counter, should we define a new function? Just add 1 whenever we code it? Let's define a new function then. We have the set, not set cookie. We have the set CMV somewhere. Save CM, clear CM, load CM. Init configure set AMR set CMV. Let's add a function called add CMV. Key value. And we basically copy everything. Just that CMV plus equals to value, right? Is not equals to, but plus equals to value. And we don't need to consider saving that. Doesn't make sense. Seems to make sense to me. Okay, so let's change this one to ML loop counter and 1. Right, we're adding 1 whenever we try it. Good. And we also, it seems like we also need a reset for it. Okay, we can just set it to 0. It's basically a reset, which means inside our control manager, we can check for our ML loop counter. I still want to find a better way for it. We shouldn't use it like this. It's just so ugly. And the first time parameter is like, oh, okay. So let's just base everything onto the configuration then. We have the configuration here, right? So why not we also have it like we can have something called loaded. Good to go. And that is false. I know the name of the parameters is stupid, but hey, I'm the one who is writing the code. You can contribute to it though. It's on GitHub. But yeah, good to go. It basically means whenever our machine learning is working, somewhere inside the parameter, we will have to set it on worker result set ML loop. on holistic result, draw landmark, debug image. Oh shit! Oh shit! In this holistic result, we're setting the. Oh no! No! We're changing the UI. We're having draw image here. Oh no! How do we solve this spaghetti shit? How do we? Oh, we're having this function here. That is so fucking bad. Okay. Yeah, that's so bad. This is so bad. This I don't even know how everything can be solved in a reasonable amount of time. All right, so good to go, set to true. Whenever we get the first thing going. Does it make sense? It makes sense. It seems to make sense. It seems to make sense. So if get CMV, good to go, is false, we will set it to true, and we will also, I think I removed the line a while ago. Sorry. We need to copy this line. And we have to pass this line. Okay. And we set the good to go to true. And if that is good to go, if that is good to go, wait a fucking second. Okay, it's not in media manager, it's control manager. We also have the first time here, right? But anyway, if it is good to go, get this is correct. If it is good to go, we can check if that is first time. Okay, so if it is good to go, we can check it if that is the first time, and we can correct the metadata. We can hide the low box. So we should have the low box parameter set in the global parameters instead. So let's see. Yup, we should have the low box parameter set in the configuration. We're just like uh is there a feasible what's the name that we use for checking if something is visible or not? Predict radius, sim flip, debug image false, debug landmark true. Okay, I'm using debug. So loading, loading sim. Loading sim. True. Okay. By default, so loading sim is true. And we need to remove it. Set it to false. So the loading sim is here. So that's not used first time because this is just not a good way to do it. CNV load sim. Okay, we have to edit here. Loading sim always true when initialize. Shit. Okay, when the loading sim is true, it will try to hide the load box, right? So when the load box is hiding here, no, in the GUI, do we have set CNV? We have a lot here. Okay. Hide load box. So when the load box is successfully hiding, we can set CNV config manager value for our loading sim to be false. Reasonable. And first time can be removed. And we correct meta as well. Okay. Now we can also remove visual counter here and set this as add CNV. What? Visual loop counter, right? VI loop counter, yes. Okay. Now let's debug visual loop counter and visual loop counter reset. Do we use it multiple times? No. We just use it once. So let's call it get CNV visual loop counter and get CNV ML loop counter as well, and we can set then to 0 here. Okay. Okay, and ML. Fantastic. Do we have this visual FPS saved somewhere? Visual FPS Q. Oh yeah, because okay, so we are refreshing it, but we are refreshing it every time when we health check, right? So it doesn't matter whether we're storing it inside it, we're initialize it here, or initialize it outside. It shouldn't matter. Let's put it here and see what happened. Okay. Let's see what happened. Everything should still work. Let's see. Should still work. I'm not saying that it will still work, but it should. Let's see. So okay. So our parameters, not a number. Okay. Seems like our visualization loop is broken. Why? Add CMV. Let's see. Oh shit, there's a value missing. Now it should work. Hope it work. Okay. Now this moves down. There is no arrow. Now our prompters general is displaying a correct value. Is there anything else that we want to check? Probably no. Which means it's probably looking very good, in a good stage. It's probably in a good state right now. Good stage right now. Right. So I don't see there's okay. Okay, so I think the configuration part currently seems to be more reasonable, right? For our manager, we have everything, most thing actually, be set as a parameter, and the only local variable that we're having, temp information, is something that we need to provide to the result, right? So this is the temp result is actually basically get blend shape, but not quite. We still have to do a lot of modification for it to be a blend shape, which is not yet true. But the temp information is basically the first level interpolation. We know that in our code, we actually have two layers of interpolation in the code, right? So the first layer of interpolation is happened inside this temp info, and the second level of interpolation is happened inside our interpolator here, right? So in our interpolator here, I think we are having this push info and get info. So let's check. I think we already should have the push info here in the manager. And with this push info here in the manager, it basically should means that we are not using temp info in our control, right? Do we? Yes, we're not using temp info in our control, so this is a great improvement. A great improvement. Get temp info means that we are having that here. Interesting. So we can actually delete this function then. All right. Everything that we are not using, we remove it for now. I know that this should be a function, and this is extremely ugly, but yeah, let's make it like this. And our manager is providing the push information, and inside the interpolator, we will try to call that function out. And yes, 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 this is what it should work, and I believe this is what currently it will look like. Okay, so let's keep decoding our control manager then. Is there any other function that we're defining that we here in the control manager that we believe we should move it? Get mood, set mood. Do we use it in the manager? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we don't. And wonderful. Okay. So even after we get the information from the interpolator, one thing still happens. The problem is that even when we get the information from the interpolator, the information is actually still not the actual rotation of our, for example, for our head, for our neck, for our body, right? So we actually have a lot of the slight modification here inside the code itself. So we get the left-eyed open, right-eyed open ratio. But these ratio, we actually still do some modification and some calculation before we actually modify our blend shape, right? We need to modify this blink right or blink left shape, but there are different circumstances, and we're trying to set different parameters to set to a single or set to the same value, which means this is something that probably also need to be fixed, right? This is something that also need to be fixed, and we need to figure out a way to fix it. Just how? Because there are so many, and I open this, it's just two value, and it's already quite complicated. From what I'm seeing here, I will think that we should have this set value be separated out to the end first, right? And we can actually store this key as a map with the design value that we want to give it. And this is just one. And another one is that we need to check is there a way that we oh, this auto value. Okay, the mood. Okay, so we also need to find a way to store the current mood instead of using this global variable mood. Currently, the mood is just a global variable. Yeah, we all know that this shouldn't be how it goes, but here we go. And okay. I'm thinking that should we make the config a temporary storage, because that's basically what we're doing, right? We're trying to store everything inside this config manager, uh, and then retrieve it somewhere else. And this makes sense because the config manager is a place where we have like a JSON defined, and we can set a key and update the key and retrieve the key, the value from the key. And this this will be able to help us uh, to basically continue this development while still maintain a reasonable structure, although might not be uh, beautiful, but a reasonable structure still. But should we go like berserk, go like out of our head and store things like VRM model also inside the config manager? I don't think we should. If we change the name to like storage manager, then we could probably, but I don't think we should. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. What is a good way to do this though? What is a good way to do this? Okay. For mood, I think we can all agree that okay, let's still go through the code and let's still check the variables that we defined right as a global variables, right? So we know that we defined a lot of global variables. Default mood list and mood map, mood and old mood. First of all, I believe we should have a mood manager. I think we all agree because like mood is taking quite a lot of space. Should the mood manager be inside our core, or should the mood manager be inside our uh, interfaces, be inside different services? I think it should be inside the core, right? It should be inside the core because the reason why I'm saying that the mood manager should be inside the core is because the mood given the VRM should be the same. It should be the same across all services if you are using the same VRM model, right? So different VRM model can have different mood defined, but if you are using the same VRM model, basically the mood is will be the same, and the mood is directly tied to the management, to the visualization as well, right? So I believe this should be how it goes, but but will it change anything? Will it actually break our code? If we do that, will our code break? I mean, it's very likely that it will break, but will it? we have this get mood function defined. Where did we use this get mood function anywhere? Not here though. Here? No, not in manager. Shouldn't be in interpolator, right? Where do we use the get mood function? This is so bizarre. Get mood. Shit. Should we do fine? We know in face key we don't. That is get move auto draft, get move auto. Huh. We define the get move auto draft and use get move auto. That should be fine. Huh? And this is the temp file. What the? Electron out face key. That should be fine. That is a site. So this is the that is control. So it means that if we remove this function, we should be fine. Do we actually have anyone using the set mood? We do. Here. Huh? What? But we use it anywhere else. Do we use it in the GUI? Yes, yes. Okay, so we use it quite a lot in GUI, which makes sense. It makes sense. A lot. And we don't need get move, right? Because we're just setting it. Set move select. Okay, okay. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, okay. Good. That just means that we should basically have the current mood set as a config as well. But good to know that we actually have a function here and there. So let's see. Let's see if get mood is actually unused anywhere else. Okay, things are moving, things are okay. Change the mood to angry, to shocking, surprise, angry, back to auto. Okay, 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 seems to be fine. Seems to be fine. Seems to be fine. Okay, get mood is not used anywhere. Set mood is used in 3 places. Here, 4 matches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Get mood, select, set mood. This is just 1. Okay, so 1, and in control manager, there's 1 above it. That's great. That's great. And we actually have the mood defined here. And O mood as well. The reason why we're having O mood is because we need to detect if there is an update of the mood. Wow. Okay. Because only when a mood is updated will we need to change. What did we change though? When we okay, so when there is a detection. Okay. 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 Okay, so the problem is okay, okay. There are two problems that separate things out. The first problem is that uh normally when we try to set different mood, we will have to detect it. And when we set a different mood, we will also change the mood of the user. And based on the mood, sometimes for example, the size of the eyes and the size of your mouth will also change. For example, in this shocking phase, the mouth is actually by default open, right? So the mouth is by default opened, and in this, I'm not sure, humiliated face, the the eyes is half closed already, right? The eyes is half closed, and in this very happy probably face, the eyes is always closed by default. This is the blend shape that uh, we are using, and the mouth is already extremely open, like so open we can actually see our teeth below. So yeah, this is yeah, it's already extremely open. So uh, these moods will actually affect our blend shape when we try to return it. And also mood itself is part of the blend shape, right? We're trying to the eye openness, mouth openness, and other definitions also already part of the blend shape. And so this is the first problem, that the blend shape is fixed with mood. So if we want to just call a function and make it return blend shape, the mood will have to go together into that function as well. That just makes sense. So we have to have the user defined in the configuration what blend shape the user want, and also the user will have to update it in the config manager probably. And another problem, huge problem, great problem, is that in this OpenLive3D there is a specific function that we created called auto mode, which is a great accomplishment that try to detect the the facial expression a little bit, not by too much, but a little bit. So in this auto mode, we're trying to detect if a user is happy or if a user is sad, right? So this detection can work uh, across all the blend shape as well. Not all the blend shape. Actually, you just detect that it is just trying to balance between normal, happy, and sad. And this auto mode is working differently from all the other mode. Which is reasonable, right? This is completely reasonable when you have an auto detect function and the manual setting function. They will be separated. But how do I make it together? How do I make it together in the new structure. Oh, this is such a sad thing when we try to rewrite everything. Like we just figure that the code sucks so much, so bad, and yeah, we have to just make it better. It's just very hard to think of a way to improve it. And we can have a mood. Just set a mood. Is there a default mood that we're using? We should, right? I think we should have a default mood. Mood auto. Okay, so current mood. Do we call it mood auto or we actually give it another name? I think we actually give it another name. Let's see. Let's see in our mood control. Is it called auto mode detection? Yes, this is called auto mood detection. Okay. So let's just start it like this then, since this is called auto mood detection. Auto mood detection. Mood goes together here. Right. So mood is no longer neutral. It used to be default to neutral, it seems. Right, and there are so many mood all over the place. And all mood equals to get CNV mood, and the new mood will be set CNV mood to the new mood. Does it make sense? Seems so. And the mood map, new mood, these are just set mood. Will it create a problem? I think this will create a problem. Because we're trying to code this function, which I don't think we should expose in our manager. Right? I think what we should expose is just the current mood. Or what we should be able to set is just config manager. So inside this GUI, currently we're having set mood, which I don't think this should be what we do. I think we should have a set config manager value mood into a different mood, right? So that's what I think we should do. But it seems like inside this set mood, we're actually not setting the mood itself. We're setting this storage of the map. We're saving this, not saving this. Okay. So this is just make things more complicated then. This is just make it a lot more complicated because it means that it is hard for us to directly do the separation. Um okay, let's yeah. Yeah. It is just very hard. Yeah. How do we make it work? Okay, so the old mood can be set differently, right? So for example, we can change the name of the old mood into current mood, which will make it a lot more a lot better for us to do any following changes. Because if we're saying that this what? Why? What? What? I'm a bit confused. I have to check. I have to check if this actually already work without without setting that. I figured that there might be something wrong with the function. Oh, let's see. Okay, I'm already like angry. This is not sad. I saw this is sad. Doesn't look very sad. Yes. Okay, relax, sorrow, auto. Good. So without that line, without that all mood equals to current uh, current mood, the the mood setting is already working, right? The change of the mood is like this is just not sad at all. I mean, I don't see the difference from these two. Why? Fond and sorrow. Shocking is not okay. I now see the problem. Okay, so it is not working. Let me add that. Add the line back and see again. Okay. Sorrow, shocking. No. Fuck. Okay. damn it. So what went wrong? I know I changed a lot of things. Or at least I tried to change a lot of things at the same time. Okay. Okay. That. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So we cannot just change it half. We have to change everything and see if things actually goes. Mood check. No mood. Reset mood. No mood. Mood map. Mood map. Mood length. Temporary mood. No mood. TGM. New mood. Mood map. Check VRM mood. Mood is auto. Uh-huh. This is okay. Mood. Reset. VRM mood. Create mood layer. Set mood. Get default mood. Okay. Current VRM mood. This will have to change. Get CMV mood. And it's not happy. And also mood is not extra. And check VRM mood, browse up, and get VRM mood, auto mood detector, mood auto ratio, browse up, update mood. So update mood will be problematic. So if current mood is not current mood, log new mood, current mood, auto mood detector, current mood, and the current mood. What the fuck? Okay. Makes sense. Equals to mood. And let's see. Update mood. Yes. Mood map. Mood equals to. We're trying to remove this function. Sorry, remove this value and valid moods. And find. We are back again. So this should work. Let's reload everything to see. This should work. Do you add that mood into our config manager system setting? Yes, we do. So did our code stuck? Why did it stuck? Let's reload again. It's still stuck. Huh. Why? What went wrong? What went wrong? Did we try to use it anywhere else? I don't think so. Is it the mood setting? Okay, so let's change everything back. Okay, so this was working. Let's check. And it worked! Fuck! Why? Why? We're just changing the mood control. Why? What's wrong with us? Okay, so we're setting a new. I I know that. Okay, so we don't need to save it, and this is not a config that would need to be saved. We're just saving that into global variables, and although it is from the 3VRN library, it is actually a string. So we're saving different streams. And when we're saving different streams into a variables, when we change the variables to instead from global to somewhere else, the initialization doesn't even work. You just stop. How did it happen? Just doesn't make sense to me. How did this happen though? Okay, we still have to continue the modification. We just cannot stop here. So first of all, the first thing that we would like to change is the current mood. Right. The first thing that we would like to change is current mood. The reason why we want to change it from old mood to current mood is that we just need to keep track of the current mood that the user is having. Do we? Yes. Okay, so that is problematic. That itself is problematic because we shouldn't be using this function. Let's see. I think this is the VRM function. Yes, this is the 3VRM function. Not function, sorry. 3VRM classes that define the preset names. And inside this defined preset names, we're trying to map it with the mood map, which we probably shouldn't do it this way. Because in this case, we are checking with the VRN defined parameter itself. It means if we want to do it inside the core, we need to have the 3VRM dependencies. And this is the large dependencies that I don't want to be included in our library, right? So we don't want to do it this way. If we don't want to do it this way, it means that we have to have our own mood stream or define set, which we do have. We do have that defined in a map. So this is the mood list and the mood map that we defined. So this is what we know and what we would and what we will like to control. So instead of having our mood saved as the map value, is it possible that we have our mood save as a mood key? And will it be too large of a change for us? Today, just by the way, I will probably have to have my dinner at 6 p.m. But we basically decided that we are going to complete this today, right? Right? We set 2 days for this task. So after dinner, I will come back to stream again. I know that currently, at this specific moment, there is no viewer. That is great. So we can just uh, I will try to wrap this out. We know that this is always a spaghetti. We know that this is always very ugly, but we will try to solve it. We'll try to make the program better. And let me sort it out, and I will go to have dinner. And I having after I have the dinner, I'll go back to try to solve it again. Before that, I think I will still try to close out this mood issue. We still have 30 minutes, and let's try to solve it. Cool. So from what we discussed, in this two variable, mood and O mood, I don't think other than this control manager, we're using these two values anywhere else. So these two values can store currently the map value, but it can also be stored like the map key, and we would like it to store the map key instead of the value, which means inside the set mode currently we're storing the value instead of the key. So the first thing that we would need to change here is to store. Okay, this is quite a huge change. Just by the code, it doesn't seem to be, but it's actually logically quite a huge change. So let me try to get things work, right? Let me try to get things work. And in terms of we're trying to compare this mood, and O mood with, I think we only compare O mood with mood, right? Let's see. We're comparing with mood. We're printing. We're is not auto. I think we're storing in the map auto. Great. So if that is not auto, and if our mood is not auto, then we are setting the set. Okay, so that here is the problem. Here we need the map. Here is where the map is needed, right? So since we're storing the key instead of the value, we cannot do a direct change to our VRM. Right, so we're updating our VRM model with our expression. So we are changing it here. And we can have this set as like this. And here as well, right? So we need a mood map before changing the VRM model. And that is just one set, but there are a lot of different places where we actually have. Okay, so for all mood, that is it. For mood, we're having that in so many different places, and the last time we tried to change it, everything broke, right? So here we have to be extra careful to understand what actually went wrong. And in this get all mood, I believe we're trying I think we're just initializing the map this, so we don't need to worry about that too much. And in set mood, we already changed it. I think that should be the last time that we are using those. Yes. And in the no mood set, we are resetting the VRM mood. If anything went wrong, it is probably here, because this is actually quite delicate. And we are checking what is inside our expression map and all the different map of our mood as well. So this is quite delicate. Where is this team? Okay, the team mood is off. This. Yep. And for a new mood ID, mood map, default mood length. Okay, these are all try to check. And mood equals to auto. Turn true. Include. Okay, this is the tricky part. If no mood, include mood map. Huh. Oh. This function, okay, redefine the new mood. Okay. That's. This is so bizarre. Let's change the name of the value. Otherwise, I just cannot understand what happened. Okay, we're trying to check, and here we can code it temporary mood value, right? One is temporary mood key, one is temporary mood value, and T mood value, T mood key. Temporary value, temporary. Okay, how? Okay, nice. Okay, nice. And we are going back to reset VR mood, create mood layer, set mood, get default mood. I think our default mood should be auto. Is it auto? Okay, and the current mood should also be auto. Okay. And let's continue. Mood not equals to happy or extra. What line is it? 90. Okay, we need to check. Is there happy? No. It's fun. It's fun. Okay, so we need to check to fun. It's not fun, nor extra. So do we code it extra then? We don't define it, but it's probably extra. Probably. We're not sure, but we don't have a better solution for it. Okay. Is not fun, nor extra. Check variant mood, browse up. If mood is equal to auto, get mood auto ratio. Okay. These are all auto ratio, trying to calculate a lot of different things and trying to set a lot of different values, which is very difficult if we want to decouple it. We'll have to do it tonight. So, and after this, find the next update mood. I think we check this for how this could be updated. Update mood, mood, default mood map, mood map, mood, oh mood. Okay, this should work. This should work. If it doesn't work, I'll go to eat dinner. Okay, currently look okay, angry, sad, nice, very happy, shocking face, and it's humiliation, normal, and auto. That is great, wonderful, fantastic, and we can reset everything and things are going well. Great. So we successfully changed the key, to for it to work. That is quite successful. And now with this changed, we basically have managed a function to know what is the current mood with our key instead of the VRM blend shape, right? So ideally, it should help us to do better separation of our code when we try to separate the mood with the blend shape update. Ideally, for example, here when we check that it is auto, and then we decided for our angry, sad, happy, and this one of the shape to balance it out. When we try to balance this out, we could instead of balance it right here, changing the VRM, we save it somewhere else, right? We could save it somewhere else, and then after we save it somewhere else, when we're doing update the mood or update blend shape, we'll probably change it in the update mood part. We update everything, right? This makes so much sense. I mean the update is the control and update itself make a lot of sense. Just that it takes so much effort. it takes so much effort to actually change it. And yeah, but yeah, I guess this is why we're here. We're here to suffer, so yeah. Yep, this is what we have to do then. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Not equals to auto, it will reset to 0. Yeah, so the update mood at the end will be just get the blend shape for all its mapping to update to the defined value. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense though. Hey. Okay. First thing first. First thing first. How do we separate the old mood from our mood? Right. The idea is that if we remove this function, if we remove this line, the thing should still work. But apparently, if we do this, what the fuck? It still work? We saved the code, right? Yes, we saved the code. It fucking still work. Why the previous time doesn't? I mean, I can completely understand it, right? Because this is why I checked the code. This is why I thought that the code just don't need to change and we can just remove the old mood line because the old mood should always be synchronized with the current mood. Huh. Or is it? Because okay, it probably doesn't need to be. Okay, so let me check default. I know that we have a reset function to reset the mood to default. Where is it? So we have a reset VRM mood, right? So let's check what is happening here. So here we are having. Okay, so we check the VRM model. We see what kind of mood is available inside this VRM model, and we have it default mood list include I, delete mood map I. Okay, so what we aim to do here, I think, is to reset this mood map. But right, I can understand it. But damn, why? Okay. Interesting. I don't think I should update it like this. I don't think this is a good way to do it. Move. Okay, let's see. I think. Oh, move. Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is a good way to do it though. Yeah, it's probably a very bad way to do it actually. Is for each key default include key. Valid mood. Yeah, okay, so we're having two functions to create this valid mood list. One is here, we're checking get VRM update cast. Okay, we're checking if we are allowing this mood. Good, good. Is it? Yes, we're checking if we're allowing these mood. And then second, we're checking if our default mood list, if default mood list doesn't include this key, we will push key. So how do we know that the mood map is updated? Right, because there is a pre-assumption that the mood map is actually updated. And this mood map updation is here. But okay. So this function here is trying to remove the mood map that is not defined in the default. That is actually defined using the previous variant model. Okay, that makes sense. So if after this function, we should only have the current, the default VRM moveset. Good. So with the default VRM moveset, we then check if there are extra mood that we will add it to string, define new mood. Okay, that seems to make sense to me. That seems to make sense to me. And actually we have a 1, 0. Okay, so we do have the extra define function working as well. That seems to be good. Reset VRM mood. This is very problematic. This is very difficult. Let me explain why. Because the mood that we defined, all the mood that is defined will affect the eye openness, will affect the mouth openness, for example. For this one, that is definitely affecting the mouth openness and the eyes openness already. And for this mood, the mouth is already 100% open while your eyes is 100% closed, right? So all these moves set, they are going to they are already affecting your model. So but here comes the but different VRM model comes with a different moveset. For example, in this default model, this is, although a default model, it does have an extra moveset like this. I'm not sure what facial expression this is, but this facial expression is not defined in the default. This is not defined in default. So so the mood will be affected. The mood will be affected yeah, so okay, so the mood set will be affected when the user is using different VRM model. But the mood will also affect your eyes and mouth openness, which is part of the blend shape. that we want to provide. Choosing different mood will affect the brain shade output. That is the reason why we believe we should also have this uh, brain shade control and also brain shade output inside the core function. But we don't want to include the VRM controller in the extra function as well, because the VRM function itself is quite large, and also because the VRM function itself should be part of the model 3D model loading and 3D model rendering. And we want to separate the machine learning part, the machine learning information parsing part, and separate these from the 3D model and 3D model rendering. So if all of these are interconnected together, it is creating a lot. It is just make things very complicated and hard to untangle. So we have to think of a way. Okay, so one of the idea that I currently have is that currently we do allow the user to control, for example, the mouth openness, the eyes openness within the default moveset, right? So here we have the default moveset for angry, sad, fun. This is actually happy or fun. And this one is shocking, this one is joy, this one is normal, right? So we do have the default moveset that is defined by the VRM. There is an auto mode that we made by ourselves this is just an extra function for us. And also, there are some extra moveset like this. But currently, we can still actually control the moveset in terms of the facial expression, like the mouth openness and eye openness as well. But this will, for many cases, break the facial expression. So from what I'm saying, if the user is not using default moveset, we shouldn't allow the user to control the eye openness and mouth openness. You probably will not agree. You probably will not agree, but this is safer. Should we go with a safer option? Or we just don't care? So okay, so we will take it as normal then. We take it as normal, and still let the user to control their mouth and eyes, because there could have cases that the user just defined a moveset that is very similar to other moveset that still want to move their eyes and mouth. Uh, we know things could happen. The 3D model could look very weird. For example, in this mood, when we're blinking our eyes, the face just look very weird. It's just not by design. But that happened, right? This 3D model is going to break. Everyone know it. So let's take it as normal then. Take it as normal. When we don't know a blend shape that is inputted, take it as normal. A mood that is inputted, when we don't recognize it, we put it as normal. Okay. Let me go through the map a little bit. So we know a reset here, and we actually list out what potential mood the user can use. And after this update, we will be able to get the valid mood for from the user. Is it called, what is it called? Get VRM mood. Where do we use this? I think we're using it quite a lot, right? Yeah, we're using it quite a lot. That is bad. Okay, it's not a lot though. We only use 3 times. Do we use it here? Okay, we only check the mood. We only use it to check the mood. Huh. But that should be fine, right? Check VRM mood. Check VRM mood. Key. Include key. Map. Include map. Huh. Oh, where is that value function though? Get O mood. I think we need to figure out. Oh, yeah. Get O mood is used here. Oh, we can quite 2 times here for the mood selection. Yeah, and the mood will also affect our GUI. We know that. Okay. That's great. And I think it will be a good time. It will be a great time for me to stop here. And I will go to have dinner. And after dinner, I will come back and have another stream. To untangle this mess. Yeah. See you later. See you later.